Welcome to the Comparative Studies of Female Mate Choice Working Group webinar with the Manakin Genomics RCN. I'm Carla Vanderbilt, and I'll be presenting this webinar. Our working group currently includes Emily, Melanie, Mariana, Wendy, Al, and myself, Carla. As we are all well aware, mannequins exhibit a wide array of different traits when it comes to mate choice. This remarkable diversity has led us to one major question that we've become very interested in addressing within this working group. And that question is, how and why does the intensity of sexual selection vary across the mannequin clade? To address this proposed question, we will first need to decide upon metrics of male and female fitness and female choice to use, as these are inconsistently available across species studied by the RCN. From preliminary results from the survey conducted by the Data Management Working Group on the data that mannequin researchers currently have, we do know that we have 18 species with data on display rates, 16 species with data on female visitation rates, 3 species with copulation rates, 3 species with paternity data, and potentially some species with recruitment data. So it seems that the first step is to determine if measurements of display and female visitation rates are significantly correlated with paternity or copulation rates for the few study systems that include all of these types of data. If the different measurements are all predictive of each other, then we should be able to include a large diversity of species in our further analyses on the intensity of sexual selection across the mannequin clade. Once we've determined which metrics of fitness and female choice we can or cannot use, we will then be able to examine how the strength of sexual selection relates across species in regards to variables such as the extent of dichromatism, lek spatial organization, the level of sociality or cooperation, display complexity, and different filtering mechanisms. For this coming meeting, we have 3 specific goals that we would like to address. First, we'd like to determine the intellectual framework of the manuscript, determine the logistic framework supporting the manuscript, and to discuss future directions and identify interested parties. And so to quickly recap on that first goal of the intellectual framework of the manuscript, our first part includes identifying a common currency of fitness that we can use across studies, and the second part is to examine how the strength of sexual selection relates across species in regards to multiple different variables. To address our second goal of determining the logistic framework supporting the manuscript, we will need to identify the core participants, including authors, and divide the data compilation and writing tasks. We'll also need to agree on a timeline, and we'd like to develop a memorandum of understanding that will allow all RCN participants to self-identify their desired level of involvement and to follow through effectively. And lastly, we will need to discuss future directions and identify interested parties. In terms of products, we'd like to have one manuscript to be completed before the summer of 2017. And we'd also like to have a general list of ideas to revisit next year in light of the results of that manuscript. Now, in terms of what we'll need from the rest of the Manakin Genomics RCN meeting participants outside of just the working group, we will be honing our questions and intellectual approach with your input. We will need to develop the databases to be populated by data contributors for analysis, and so hopefully the data working group can help a lot with this. We will need to write and launch a memorandum of understanding regarding data and intellectual contributions and authorship, and this can be applied to all other working groups as well if they so choose. Lastly, we would like to have all interested RCN participants complete the participation and authorship survey before the end of the meeting. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing you all at the meeting.